This week's episode brought to you by Don't. Tired of setting up and tearing down tons of holiday paraphernalia and decorations over and over again? Sick of storing tons of holiday shit that you only haul out once a year only to have it hang around way too long? Then don't. Just don't. With Don't. Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk. An opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. Your panel of expert hosts each week are Dr. Bryce Hansen, who holds a PhD in spookology, and Professor David Day, the foremost expert in scare no-nos. New theatrical releases always get priority, but we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible. I'm David Day.
I'm Bryce Hansen.
If you hear a funny sound in the background, that's my computer literally dying. Right before our ears.
Yeah, he bought it used, what, like
5 years ago.
7 years ago?
Yeah. It's a trooper. So, hello and welcome. This is Horror Movie Talk, and I'm super excited for our show today. Even though we are reviewing Pumpkinhead. You guys should check us out on our website, horrormovietalk.com. From there, you can find links to all of the places I'm going to mention next, which is like social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We got even LinkedIn. Check out our Reddit, our subreddit. We post new episodes every Wednesday, so make sure to slam that subscribe button, ring that bell, and all that baloney. Give us a ratings on iTunes if you want to be really nice, and make sure to share our podcast with a friend, even if they don't like horror, because I'm told that people who are scared to watch horror movies still get off on listening to us joke about them. So that's
I want to thank the people that have actually taken the call to action seriously and shared the podcast with a friend. I know at least one person on Twitter said he found the podcast from a friend that was a big horror buff that shared our podcast with them, and we really appreciate that, meeting new people. And I know that we've gotten several new ratings and reviews since the last episode.
Yeah.
And that we really appreciate that. Once again, our goal is to get 200 ratings by
not too long
August,
from now.
August 2020, and we've got 42 right now. So
we can do it. You can help.
Just hit those stars. If you know someone that has an iPhone, just have them rate us too. Just say, "Can you do a thing?"
Here, let's do that thing.
Yeah.
As I said, we've got a great show today. We are going to be talking about Pumpkinhead, the slasher, iconic cult classic slasher from 1988. We'll start out by giving a brief review and our score for the movie. We score on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a miserable dredge, where it makes you angry that you had to watch it, 5 being a totally average film that hits all the expected marks, and 10 being so good that it transcends genre boundaries and should win an award, but it won't because it's a horror movie. After we give our score, we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive into what we liked and hated about the film. But first, Bryce, we have a contest.
We've got lots of great news this podcast.
Yeah, you guys should stick around for the mid-roll because we got some interesting stuff there. But
yeah, we got exciting news for October. We're trying to bring it in October.
Yeah, and my brother really helped us out in thinking up this contest for us. So thank you, Garrett. We have a contest, a Horror Movie Talk pumpkin carving contest. And Bryce, what is the grand prize for this?
The grand prize is a set of Funko Pop dolls. It's the Hocus Pocus collector set.
Yeah.
It has Sarah with the spider, Winifred with magic, and Mary with cheese puffs.
Yeah, she's got a bowl of cheese puffs.
So a set of 3 Hocus Pocus pop dolls that you can set up on your desk or something to show that you've got love for horror movies. It's a friendly way to do it.
Yeah.
It's a little easier to do than having like a Cenobite poster, tweaking his nipples, over your desk. I think people appreciate Hocus Pocus a little more.
Yeah, and
even though it is really, really graphic in some
it's pretty
scenes.
It's pretty raunchy. If you head back to our Ready or Not episode, we have a game called Horror or Porno that debuts on there, and one of the scenes from Hocus Pocus really kind of shines through. There was
yeah, you wouldn't remember it.
No, I think he said, "Put it back in there, bitch," or something like that. Yeah. And Bryce actually the other day he thought of second and third place prizes.
Yeah, so first prize is the Hocus Pocus set. Second prize, we will gift you. I think on iTunes we can do this. We can gift you the music track of Hocus Pocus by Focus.
And third prize is
you're fired.
You lose. Good day, sir. Yeah, but if you want to enter this contest, it's really easy. You just head on over to our website. You take a picture of your pumpkin, of whatever.
Post carved. Yeah,
post after it's been carved. The money shot, if you will. And then, you go to our website, and we have on all the pages, pretty much.
You look for the Halloween 3 pumpkin, the jack-o'-lantern that showed up on the TV. In Halloween 3. Mm-hmm. On the homepage, it's down at the bottom. On every other page, it's up at the top of the sidebar. It's pretty easy to find.
Big old picture of a pumpkin.
So just click through, fill out the entry form, simple entry form, but you do need to submit an image, and you also need to have a Google account to submit the image. So I think everyone has one of those by now, either a Gmail account or just something that you sign into YouTube.
Yeah, you would think so. That's almost like just par for humanity.
Yeah,
at
it's like
point.
Table stakes for the internet. So, we're just looking for the coolest pumpkin carving, and we'll figure out how to judge it later, other than just looking at it and say, I like that one.
When's the deadline for this? I think it's probably the last episode that comes out in October.
Yeah, so we'll announce the winner on October 30th in the October 30th episode.
There you go.
But that actually means that the deadline is the Saturday before, unless we want to tack on like an edited thing. I think. Let me look at the calendar real quick. So entries would be due Friday the 25th.
There you go. You guys got like 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. I guess that's about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So get on that. And later in this episode, we will be doing a game called Taglines, which is a perennial favorite, and Pumpkinhead is fodder for this. I think that we're also going to be reading some of your very kind reviews to us.
Yeah.
So that'll be a thing that we can do later as well. So with that, let's get into Pumpkinhead. Pumpkinhead is one of the most straightforward and simple movies I think I have ever seen. You know that motif of made-for-TV movie that movies like Tremors have? Pumpkinhead has that same feeling and structure. So with that, here's the trailer.
Afraid raising the dead ain't within my power.
Will it be all right? Should I be afraid? It's coming!
Looking for an old woman. She lives somewhere in the mountains hereabouts.
All she can do is take you straight to hell. You go home and you bury your boy.
Some folks will say as how she's got powers.
Who are you?
Ed Harley.
What do you want, Ed Harley? Say it. You're looking for vengeance. Vengeance. Say it. There's an old graveyard way back deep in them woods. The thing you're looking for is in there.
It was an accident.
No, not like this, not like this.
It's gotta run its course. Now it begins. It begins.
So, Pumpkinhead can be found on Amazon for a fee and Hulu for free if you have a Hulu subscription right now. Pumpkinhead is the story of a group of, and I think you can obviously also find, I think everything just goes without saying that you can find it on YouTube for a couple of bucks. Pumpkinhead is the story of a group of young 20-somethings who are headed out to a cabin in the woods. As far as I can tell, this is supposed to be set in the South, which is difficult for me because what isn't shot on a soundstage is very obviously located in the hills of L.A. But
yeah, the setting and the time of this is so
vague,
weird and vague.
Yeah. It's
I turned to David while we were watching, and I was like, "This could either be like Depression era Dust Bowl,
yeah,
or it could be late 80s ski comedy."
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's
like
totally accurate.
Teen ski comedy.
That's totally accurate. As our group of kids stop at a small local store for some supplies, the most rowdy of the group inexplicably hop on dirt bikes and start riding around doing sweet tricks.
Yeah, I mean, you stop for, 2 minutes for a pit stop to grab some Cheetos, and you're like, "Oh, I'm getting antsy. Got to get my dirt bike and start riding on these hills."
The son of the store owner is fatally injured by one of these sweet tricks, and
after being insulted for his thick glasses by the asshole.
Look at this little kid, this tiny little kid. What a fucking dork. Okay, all right.
Hey, Four Eyes.
Okay. It's aggressive. And all but one of the kids head into the hills to avoid having murder pinned on them. The owner of the shop returns to find his child mortally wounded, so he seeks revenge the only way he knows how. Obviously, he goes to see a witch to put a death curse on the kids who killed his son.
Yeah.
Obviously. Long story short, Pumpkinhead is summoned by the witch, and he is a big, ugly, creepy-looking sort of Pumpkinhead thing. He cuts a swath of revenge through the kids and anyone who gets in the way of his revenge for the kids. Pumpkinhead is a better-than-terrible slasher that has a great monster and a cult following.
I love that description. It's better than terrible.
It is better than...
It's not better than average, definitely.
Right, no. Yeah, Pumpkinhead is a better-than-terrible slasher that has a great monster and a cult following of adults who were scarred in their childhood by this gruesome beast. As far as I can tell, the movie structure as movie structure goes, it's pretty clear what is going on at all times and why. This is not a hot mess of a movie, necessarily. Unfortunately, it's never interesting enough for me to care about anyone or anything that's happening. The lighting is intentionally on the pitch black side of dark to hide the costume, I assume, and maybe because there just was one lighting guy and he was underpaid or something like that. And the writing is bare bones and totally interchangeable with any other crappy 80s slasher.
Yeah, the writing's pretty minimal, too.
It's super minimal.
The protagonist, the guy from Millennium, he just stands around and looks sullen for most of the time.
Lance Henriksen. Yeah, he does a great job of what he's supposed to do.
He's great with what they gave him.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot there.
There's just no meat on these bones, so to speak. Now, I do want to go on record. We have never necessarily directly addressed this, but here at Horror Movie Talk, we try to see things as they are, putting down the nostalgia glasses and looking at horror movies to compare them honestly. We won't pander to you or your childhood, and only minimally to our own, we hope.
Right. Well, unless it comes to it.
Unless it comes to it.
I will pander to my childhood.
Pumpkinhead is a bad movie. What it brings to the table is an easy-to-understand storyline and a pretty great monster, along with a memorable name. Now, while you may remember this movie fondly, I think only the most die-hard horror snobs will go down with this ship in order to be seen as a, quote, true horror fan.
Yeah, the reason why we watched it, we were looking for, classic horror movies for the month of October.
Yeah.
And Pumpkinhead was one of those movies that comes up on a lot of lists as a hidden treasure or a forgotten gem of a horror movie. Doesn't get the attention that it deserves. And we watched it, And I disagree with that sentiment.
Big, not to mention, like, there is a big, I feel like it's an agreement in the horror community that is, if something is cult, we have to say it's good. And this is evidenced by, like, big horror publications like Dread Central and Bloody Disgusting giving this movie near perfect scores. And I feel like that's pandering, and I don't feel like it's doing the audience any good service. Like, if you have not seen Pumpkinhead and you go to Dread Central and they're like 4 out of 5, it's like, that's a lie.
I think here's what's good about it. The baseline concept of it, of going to a witch and summoning like a dirt monster to get revenge.
Yeah.
And having it tied to you as kind of the curse is a very interesting concept.
It's a super interesting concept.
And also, I think it was Stan Winston that did the monster. The monster looks great for a horror monster. However, the directing on this movie was god-awful.
Yeah.
Like, lots of mistakes were made with how to shoot this monster, how to just shoot regular scenes.
Yeah.
Like, it felt very claustrophobic because a lot of stuff was close-ups.
Yeah, the whole movie is lots of big close-ups, and it's like, ugh.
And so there was one scene in it, and maybe I can say, well, I'll just say it. The scene in the cabin when the guy is arguing with the asshole. I don't remember the character names, but basically of the teenagers that killed the little kid, or were responsible for, not alerting 911 or anything.
Right.
There was the asshole that did it, that ran over the kid, and then there was everyone else.
Yeah.
That's the level of character development in this movie. And so one of the others says, I'm going to go and report it to the police, and the asshole starts fighting him. And that, just the simple choreography of him punching that guy was just, it was worse than student film, like, framing of the shots.
If this was young Sam Raimi's first movie, this would have been amazing. It would have been very, very good because he understood framing. He understood he understood all of the things that this movie did not do well.
Yeah.
Even
and
very young.
Building tension with shots.
Right.
And just having really interesting angles. It was literally, it felt kind of like it was shot like a soap opera almost. Right.
That's where I'm going. I think that's the thing that makes me say it feels made for TV, or like it. Yeah, like it just feels made for TV. It almost feels like it has the spots for commercial breaks.
Yeah, I mean,
placed in it.
It almost feels like it was shot in 3:4.
Yes,
like it was almost. It feels like small,
right?
Like small framed,
right?
But it's not.
It's not. No,
but it just feels that way somehow. It's like just weird.
So my score for this is a 3 out of 10. It wasn't so bad that I'm not super upset that I watched it. It's definitely not as good as average. So I'd say for me, it falls at about a 3.
Yeah, I'm right in line with that.
Yeah.
It's a 3. It's right in the middle of less than average because didn't make me angry. No. I wasn't like extremely bored. I was kind of just close to engaged, but I just couldn't care enough because the characters weren't interesting. A lot of archetypal, like 80s asshole. That was the major villain, was just someone plucked out of a teen comedy.
What a dick! Yeah,
and but visually, in terms of like the makeup and the effects and stuff, it is great.
Yeah.
Visually, in terms of direction and lighting, not great.
No. I mean, yeah, there are parts of this movie that will stick with me for a long, long time, particularly, obviously, the monster, the name, and then the graveyard, and the witch. Like, all the aesthetic stuff. Like, the graveyard was Tim Burton level good.
Yeah,
but
cool.
Yeah, but there's just so much that held it back. So,
Right.
So with that, let's get into thanking our new Patreon member, Freddie P, all the way from the UK. Freddie has...
Top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning.
Freddie.
Throw another shrimp
Put
on
another shrimp on the barbie.
Wait, this is the part... this is the part where we show how worldly we are.
Let's go fly a kite, Mary Poppins. That's my accent.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on board, Freddie.
I just assume everyone in England sounds like Dick Van Dyke from Mary Poppins.
Pop, cheerio! Pop, is that what? But he does have excellent taste because Evil Dead the remake is, I think he said, one of his very favorite horror films. So and
Freddy is the very last of the horror movie talk founding
members. Yeah,
we ended that tier at a nice round number, 10 horror movie talk founding members, and we'll get into more about what that means later.
Yeah, actually, we'll get into that right now.
Okay, let's get into that right now. So we have some new tiers on Patreon.
Yeah.
Originally, we just launched it with one tier, $5. You got to be a Horror Movie Talk founding member, name on the website, and the most important perk, and that they'll be feeling from now on, is they get every future perk of every tier in perpetuity.
Yeah.
As long as they stay a patron, we'll give them all the perks. So these are the new tiers. That tier has been retired, but we have 4 new tiers, and we'll probably expand it in the future. But as of right now, okay, so here are the 4 tiers. We have a newer value tier for people that don't want to donate up to $5. We have a $2 tier called the Spoopy tier.
Yeah, Spoopy.
And with the $2 tier, you get thanks on the supporters page of horrormovietalk.com. You'll get your name posted there under the Spoopy tier members. And you will get access to our production calendar. So you'll be able to see all of the scheduled upcoming episodes, usually at least a month out. So we'll send you a Google Calendar invite to our Asana calendar for what we got planned in the future. So you'll get visibility into that. So that's the first tier.
The second tier is Too Spoopy at $5 per month. Patrons that are Too Spoopy unlock access to the Afterpods, which we have quite a few at this point. We've been recording them basically every week all summer long into the fall. And that's a show where we leave the mics running after Horror Movie Talk and talk about life behind the scenes and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of gossip and crying and laughing. You also get a shout out on an upcoming episode, as well as all the benefits from the Spoopy tier.
And then the next tier is Too Spoopy for Me. Too Spoopy for You.
Yeah.
Which is a $6.66 tier.
That's the number of Stan.
You know that guy. Always wearing 666. In that tier, you get all of the benefits of the lower tiers, plus you get access to all of our sound drops. And I kind of gotta figure out how to do that. But I'll send you a link or email you.
We could
a file of all
we
the
could
sound
make a
drops.
section of Asana that's cordoned off and has a bunch of files on it. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
It out.
You'll get all the sound drops, so you know the gems like and
Get your wheezes out.
all that stuff is yours at the 666 tier. And then also you get, what was the other thing you got for that tier, David?
Yeah, so of the week's episode, let's see here. You get early access
Right.
to the podcast before it comes out.
Yeah, so if you're looking for extra content, $5 gets you access to the afterpods, and $6.66 gets you early access to episodes once they're edited, which is usually about a day or two in advance. We try to get it finished on the weekend, but extenuating circumstances sometimes happens. It might be, a couple hours before. But that's what you get for Too Spoopy for You.
That's Bryce's caveat. Bryce will push things.
Yeah, I'll push it.
So, and then the final tier, 3 Spoopy 5 Me. Once a month, this is a $15 tier. Once a month, patrons that are 3 Spoopy 5 Me will, so obviously you get all the stuff previously mentioned, and you'll also get to, as a group, decide on a horror movie for us to watch and review in an episode that month, I think. I'm not totally sure.
Yeah, so the caveat on that is we prioritize new releases, so if there's a new release, the theatrical release horror movie coming out, we're going to watch it on opening night and then have an episode for the next Wednesday. So if there is a month where we don't have a spot for a non-new release, then that voted on episode will probably be pushed to the next month. But that'll be probably pretty rare. Or if there's not one, if it's not voted on early enough in the beginning of the month, just logistically, we will make the episode. It might not be in that particular month, but you'll still have access to it. And also for that one, your mention on the supporters page comes with the bonus that you can link to a personal project of yours.
Yeah.
So if you've got a website or if you've got like an Instagram page or something that you want to promote and have people go to, we will include a link to that on horrormovietalk.com. So I know it's maybe not the most exciting thing for you to hear about us talk about all the tiers, but
shut up.
We're excited because it's new bonus content for you. It's stuff that we haven't been offering before, and I think there's obviously people that are interested in it because we do have patrons.
Yeah, and to all of our current patrons, you in the founding members club, that's all yours. So you got all that stuff. So do stay tuned on Patreon for us to start organizing how that kind of all plays out, because we'll be talking to you, and if you don't interact with us on Patreon, we can't help you.
Should we mention the 2 tiers that we decided to forego for now?
I think it would be entertaining.
So there were 2 additional tiers, and from the feedback that we got from my wife and a few of the patrons, not huge fans, and also the feedback from us. So we had a $50 tier that we were considering that was going to be
the fellatio tier.
I spoop, you spoop, we all spoop for I spoop. No, it was just we all spoop for I spoop.
It doesn't matter. It's the $50 tier.
Well, I think it's clever, so I got to mention it.
Okay,
because I came up with it.
Very well. And by the way, we owe the idea for the tiers to listener Mark. He came up with that. And mentioned it to me.
Right. Yeah, that's great. We struggled a lot with the name previously. So the $50 tier would have had all the benefits of the previous tiers. I think, did we say that we were going to actually do an episode? No. The added benefit for $50 tier is that we were going to describe in detail the
genitalia,
your genitalia.
Yeah.
So if you're a guy, just the massive size and beauty of your cock, and if you're a female, just
etc.
The
bits,
the petiteness and desirable and compactness of your vagina.
I'm creeped out right now.
See, I thought that was like one of the most hilarious ideas, because I would love just coming up improv.
It's definitely a male tier.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. And then I realized someone pointed out, as well as my wife, just like kind of wincing.
Yeah. A little bit.
That number one, it feels very try-hardy and kind of
It's what we do, though. I mean, that's how we have to be kept. We have to be kept safe from ourselves,
right? But and then the other thing is receiving that, even as a guy, hearing someone talk about your member, would probably just make me feel bad. Because if someone talked about the massive
let's move
size
on. What's
of
the
my
next
cock,
tier?
I'd just be like, but I know that's not
What's
true.
the next tier?
Okay.
Good Lord.
The last tier we were considering was a $666 tier called, what was it?
The Satanic Pact or something?
Four Spoop 666 everybody.
Okay.
And this tier, we would do an actual satanic ritual in your name.
Yeah. Yeah, we'd try our best. We're not part of the legions of
I mean,
Satan.
we would figure it out.
We'd figure it
for
out,
$666, we would figure it out, and we'd take a video of it and we'd send it to you.
That's per month.
So here's where we painted ourselves into a corner: is that we have the Horror Movie Talk founding members, and they would get this perk unlocked.
Yeah, we'd have to do 10 satanic rituals at $5 a month.
And I'm still a Christian. Yeah. Like I don't believe that I'd be in any danger of.
It doesn't bother me
cursing or Satan actually appearing or anything, but it makes me a little hesitant. But also doing it 10 times would be a little much.
Yeah, that's the time commitment is where I draw the line.
Yeah, so I mean, I considered just copying out and being like, we could do it like Simpsons Mr. Black at Camp Krusty, like, Dark Lord, we commit the name Mr. Black
Jessica.
to your and just cop out that way. But we decided to forestall that. We want to give it our all.
Yeah.
Plus we got it seems like we've got added time commitments.
Yeah.
For both of us recently to where we're kind of limited. Anyways, check out the new Patreon tiers. Support the podcast that way, and we'd love you for it. And we'd probably do unspeakable things to you if you ever appeared in front of us.
Oh, definitely. That's confirmed. 100%. Unspeakable things. Also, if you want to support the podcast, head on over to our website, horrormovietalk.com. Click on through to that link at the top of the page. It says spend on Amazon, buy stuff on there, bookmark that link, and you will be supporting the pod every time you purchase anything on Amazon. Also, check out Shudder. It is Halloween season. Tons of good Halloween streaming content on Shudder. That's SHUDDER.com. Enter HMT at checkout, and you get the whole month, 30 days free trial at Shudder.com. Also, remember our Halloween jack-o'-lantern contest, our Jack-o'-lanterns contest.
Yeah, we're not going to call it that.
We're calling maybe a little bit. I mean, I might call it that. And that you can, of course, find a link to that on our website. One last thing in this very long mid-roll. I would like to mention a Instagram. Well, actually, he's a listener who is also a fantabulous artist, and we actually have a couple of these who have reached out to us. Jessica has, for my podcast, the Positivicast, she drew me a very nice picture of a Rice Krispie treat enjoying some coffee in front of the Twin Towers.
Really?
Yeah, and it's beautiful.
How have you not shown this to me?
It's beautiful. I got to show it to you.
Oh man,
and
we got to talk on the afterpod about
right.
Nikki Glazer's special.
Oh yeah, she stole my joke. No, but Dustin is this fabulous artist who really shares all of my taste, all of it, all the comics he likes, all the things Simpsons he does in Rainbow Six, like he's me. Basically, except artistic and good at being artistic. And he reached out to us and said, "Hey, I really like what you're doing, and I'd like to, give you guys some custom artwork for some of your stuff." So you guys can check out his amazing artwork on his Instagram at DGOEBEL00. That's DGOBEL00 on Instagram.
Yeah, it's great. And I think he's going to try to do a piece of art for this post.
I think so.
So if you see like a really cool piece of art for the social post for Pumpkinhead episode, that was by that guy. Great. He reached out to us on Facebook. We put out a call for writers for the blog, and a lot of people have reached out, and David started breathing hard because he's like, I got to edit all this stuff. I've got to actually read.
There's so much.
All this content. And then Dustin offered to do artwork for us. And it's just out of the kindness of his heart.
Like, this is no joke. This is no joke. Super professional. Yeah. Like, this is a man who probably makes money from doing art.
Yeah, I mean, we get a lot of offers on Facebook of like, hey man, we're filmmakers, we'd love if you'd review our film, and then you go and it's just like a piece of shit. We've done that once and it was not good for them. It did not help them, I don't think. Our Spiral review, if you want to go revisit that.
Oof.
So when people reach out that are artistic, I kind of hesitate, but Dustin, I actually go to his Instagram profile. I'm like, oh shit, no, this is exactly like, I would hire this guy. If I had money.
Yeah, I do want prints of a lot of the stuff that he's drawn. His Your Mom's House stuff is great.
Yeah.
So check him out, and with that, let's wrap up this very long mid-roll and get into the spoilers.
Let's talk about this terrible movie
for Pumpkinhead.
Spoilers?
Yeah.
Is there anything really to spoil about this movie? I think we just described it in detail.
Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, we did a very long mid-roll, so that's going to make up the time for the otherwise very short review of Pumpkinhead. Not because we're going to neglect Pumpkinhead, but because there's just nothing there. It's that. So
yeah,
Pumpkinhead.
It's barely weirdly interesting. That's the disappointing thing, is that it had some interesting ideas, but it didn't super commit to it. Just the interesting stuff was tossed offhand.
I think that what you said was too throwaway. This is the most important thing that's going to be said all episode. Now let's say this again with some underline. It's barely weirdly interesting. It doesn't even achieve holding my attention for the shit it does wrong.
Right.
Or for the weird concept of it. It's just, it's barely weirdly interesting. The movie starts out with Ed Harley as a little kid. Ed Harley is basically our main character, played by Lance Henriksen, normally throughout the movie. But at the start of the movie, we get him as a little kid in the 50s, sitting at home with his very poor family in, I think, a swamp. I can't really tell, but he grew up there, and so he's sitting there enjoying the evening, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the setting is real hard to pin down. They did not really paint a picture of the setting or time period in this movie.
It was confusing, and it was, there was frogs croaking. And there was some moss hanging off the trees.
But also real dusty and desert-like.
Right. You can't escape L.A. if you're in L.A. Yeah.
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 David, you mentioned while you were watching it that it reminded you of Tremors.
Yes.
And the only thing I can attach to Tremors is that it was dusty.
Well,
I could not see any similarities.
It was dusty. It was a monster. It's a monster film.
Right.
It's the same time frame, late 80s, early 90s, and it's a movie. What you were hitting on earlier with what you said about the soap, it feels like it's shot as a soap opera. Now, I know that Tremors does not feel that same way, but Tremors has a similar thing that Pumpkinhead has, which is it feels like there's almost room in the movie built in for commercial breaks.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm just talking about, there's a motif that is strangely it just reminded me very much of Tremors.
Yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense. Tremors does feel somehow smaller in scale.
Right.
It feels closer to a TV movie, like a Stephen King adaptation.
Yeah.
Like Langoliers.
It would be
something.
weird to go to a movie theater and see Tremors, and it would be equally weird to go to a movie theater and see Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, I don't know how much that is me growing up and watching Tremors on cable all the time.
It was on every, like, and by the way, if Tremors was on, I was watching, like, there was,
right.
This is the day. And everyone in my family agreed. Like, it was, like, this was something that united everyone. It was just a good movie that you could sit down and watch.
The similarities end very quickly between Pumpkinhead and Tremors, because Tremors is a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a sleeper great movie.
Exercise in perfection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of Red Letter Media did a analysis on their review series on Tremors, and they picked out all the little setups for things that were going to be delivered on later. So like, where you kind of like stuff like, oh, the fridge door sticks when you open it, like in the first act.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's, when you're watching it, you might not notice it, but if you're paying attention to kind of movie structure, you'll see that and say, that might be important later on.
Yeah.
And then later on, there's a major scene that depends on the fridge sticking.
Yeah.
It does that just beat by beat by beat.
Perfect
For that movie. And it's all believable.
And the characters all make sense.
The world makes sense. There's rules that make sense.
Yeah.
And it's just perfectly encapsulated. There's rules with Pumpkinhead too, but not real complex or interesting ones.
No, they're not complex. There's definitely revenge. Like, so the rules in Pumpkinhead are revenge comes at a price. And don't get in the way of Pumpkinhead. Like, those are literally the rules in Pumpkinhead.
Oh, and don't get in the way of Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, if you try and help anyone who Pumpkinhead is after, Pumpkinhead is now ipso facto after you.
Right. He's going to go after the people that are cursed and don't get in his way.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a revenge monster. That's it.
Now, there aren't a tremendous amount of rules in Tremors either. It's just they're fun. It's don't step on the ground.
Right.
It's like, oh,
it's hot lava.
That's fucking crazy. Like, you get rocks. You can walk on those because they can't.
Right. They feel vibration in the ground and they're blind, and so.
Right. Don't make sound and don't walk on the ground.
Right.
Like, those are the rules.
Yeah, Pumpkinhead.
Yeah. So Ed is with his family in the swamp in the 50s. He's a little kid, and the neighbor comes to the door screaming. He's like, "Oh God, help me! You gotta help me!" And Ed's dad's like, "Don't let that guy in. Do not get in the way of Pumpkinhead." And they don't, and they live, and the guy dies. So then we kind of flash forward into Ed's 40s ish, and he's an adult, played by, as we've mentioned several times, Lance Henriksen. Very well cast, and what a good actor he is. Like, and just range. Like, brooding. Like, if you need your guy, I guess there's not range.
Yeah. Yeah, I wrote down, like, if you want sullen or menacing, like, Henriksen is your dude.
Yeah,
like,
for real.
He is excellent at looking, wrinkly-faced angry.
Did you ever see The Pit and the Pendulum?
No.
I don't think I did either, but I think that's one of his more notable roles.
What year was that?
I think it was 82.
Huh. Okay.
But you and I have talked several times about a show that Henriksen is featured in recently, which is Millennium Week. I'm like, hey, did you ever see Millennium? And Bryce would be like, no, it's a piece of shit. And be like,
I was a huge X-Files fan.
Yeah.
I can see, we have the DVD set right there on my shelf.
Huge.
We can see it. I watched X-Files every week, every new episode, that came out religiously, and that was made by Chris Carter, and Chris Carter came out with a new series called Millennium, and I could not get even through the first episode.
And you were a kid at that point.
Yeah, and it was all the worst parts of X-Files. And they focus on that.
Oh.
It's like Chris Carter is like, everyone loves all the episodes that I don't write. Let's make a series that I just write.
Oh, poor guy.
And then there was like so I didn't watch it, but there was also a crossover episode with X-Files that was like also unbearable. Yeah. So it didn't really endorse Millennium that much. But yeah, he's a man. He's a good actor.
Yeah.
He's not bad.
No, he's pretty good in this. So he leaves on an errand. He's got a kid, and he leaves him at the store that they own. And
which is a little weird now that I think of it. They've got like a bunch of rowdy teenagers.
He's like,
outside.
I'll be right back.
I'm just gonna leave my
kid and
6-year-old son alone.
Yeah, it was a simpler time in the 80s.
Yeah.
And then the dirt bike bros, they get out their dirt bikes, and there's a sweet montage of them, doing jumps and more jumps, and then just like winging on the throttle, wee, 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 and then one of them bumps the little kid with his motorcycle, and that kid promptly falls into a coma and dies. So I'm not.
It was an accident.
Yeah, it was an accident, which quickly evolved into Murder 1.
Yeah, because there was how many were there? So there was 2 guys and 3 girls.
There was 3 guys and I don't know.
Was there 3 guys?
Well, Steve stayed behind. Steve stayed with the kid.
Okay,
and then Joel.
Oh, that's right. So there was 2 brothers and then another guy. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't.
Who cares? So they're like, "Oh no, this kid!" And then they go into the general store and try to get a phone, but of course they don't have a phone because this is Depression era Dust Bowl.
Yeah,
in that area of LA, and they come out, and the asshole that ran him over is like loading up his dirt bike and is like, I gotta get out of here.
I gotta go.
I drank some alcohol and I cannot.
He's also on probation.
Yeah.
So obviously he's got a jet.
Right.
So one of the kids feels guilty and stays behind. Steve stays behind to sit with the kid until Lance Henriksen comes back and scowls at him. He's like, "Hey, man, I'm real sorry." And Lance is like, "Well, my child's fucking dead, so I don't care about your sorry."
Yeah, Lance Henriksen gives him the stinkiest of stinky eyes. Like that, I mean, that's really where you made the right casting decision, because I have not seen
I felt it.
Deeper and more menacing stink eye than that.
Yeah, I felt like I had done something wrong to Lance through the screen.
We forgot to mention, I wrote this down in my notes, skipping back to when the kid was still alive.
Just moments ago. Just moments before the dirt bike bumped
So
him.
Ed and his son were bonding, and they're, I can't remember if they said anything where his mom was, but anyways, they're bonding and washing their hands together, and Ed talks about fondly about his grandma washing his hands and how her skin tissue, her skin was tissue thin and it felt so soft.
Oh,
it was just such a weird line, and so off-putting that I had to write it down.
But there aren't any more of that. Like that. If give me more
how
of that.
soft grama's skin is.
That tissue thin skin.
Yeah.
It's kind of sloughing on you, and
don't wash too hard or you'll deglove your grandma.
Oh God.
Okay, moving on.
So
just had to get out there.
Ed immediately seeks revenge, grabs his son, and finds a guy deep in the swamp. He's like, "Hey guy, where's that gypsy witch?" And the guy's like, "You don't want no trouble with that gypsy witch." And he's like, "I do. I need revenge." And he's like, "Well, you find her over there." And
his son, that's kind of shady, was like, "I'll show you where gypsy witch is."
Yeah, Bunt. His name was Bunt, Bryce.
Of course it is.
Bunt. was his name. Silasilo was his name. So he gets to the witch, and the witch is like, are you sure about this? And he's like, bitch, give me that revenge. And she's like, but it comes with the price. And he's like, I'm ready. So she's like, head over to that creepy graveyard behind my house, get the thing out of the ground, get a guy out of the ground in that graveyard, bring him back here.
So this is like,
I'll watch your kid.
The concept of, all right, if you are going to get revenge on your kid's killer at basically the cost of dooming your soul for all eternity,
just go and kill him yourself.
You could either do that. Just get a gun.
Obviously.
But actually my advice for anyone considering murder-suicide, and I got this from Adam Carolla, is start with a suicide.
Yeah. Let's start with square one.
Yeah. I mean,
if you're thinking,
you will basically accomplish the same purpose.
Right.
But you'll be more beloved
for sure
than if you start with a murder first in your murder-suicide.
Now, that being said, if you are considering suicide, don't. Get some help. Stop.
No, I mean, if you're considering suicide, call the 1-800-suicide hotline or whatever. You should Google suicide, and Google will refer you to the proper authorities. But if you're considering murder-suicide,
right? This is very specific.
Murder-suicide.
Murder. If you're gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna take somebody else out, and then I'm gonna I'm gonna kill myself.
Then definitely do the suicide first.
Right. Suicide comes first.
Right.
If you're gonna murder suicide.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point.
That's the route that Ed Hardley should have taken.
Yeah.
It would have been better for everyone. I mean,
yeah, we wouldn't have had to watch this movie. So he goes to this fucking awesome Tim Burton graveyard that looks like the whole graveyard has sunk 10 feet down into like the swamp, except for this one headstone, and he climbs up to this headstone.
Yeah, it was so cool. Wasn't it like a rotten out like tree trunk? That's what it felt like to me.
Oh, yeah, maybe it was. Yeah, I'm not sure. I couldn't. It was so dark.
Yeah, it might have been. It might have been like a sarcophagus kind of thing, but it felt like it was a rotten out like tree trunk or something, because it was raised, but it had dirt inside of it.
Yeah, it was cool. It was super cool. It did have pumpkins growing around it.
Yeah, so pumpkins. Oh, why?
Okay. See, I was under the impression that Pumpkinhead had nothing to do with pumpkins or Halloween at all, which makes me angry.
Right. So Pumpkinhead, he does not actually have a pumpkin.
He does not. Not only does he not have a pumpkin head, he has nothing to do with Halloween. He has nothing to do with pumpkins, really, except apparently.
Yeah, he grew. Yeah, he's. How did they describe it? Hold on. I think I took a note of this. Oh, yeah. Where do you find Pumpkinhead? Oh, the old pumpkin patch graveyard.
That's what they said?
They basically said that. So it's a graveyard with a pumpkin patch in it. So the reason why they call him Pumpkinhead isn't that his head is shaped like or looks like a pumpkin.
Although it kind of does.
I mean,
a little
barely.
Bit. You can see a resemblance.
They call him Pumpkinhead because you find him in the pumpkin patch.
Okay.
Old Pumpkinhead. It's like a Charlie Brown insult.
Yeah.
Oh, you blockhead.
So the witch uses blood from the father, Ed, and his recently deceased son to resurrect this corpse that he brings back to her that was in the pumpkin patch graveyard.
Yeah, it starts out like this little shriveled up thing, and when Pumpkinhead wakes up, he actually looks almost exactly like the aliens from...
Right.
What's that movie?
Yeah,
Fire in the Sky.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is pretty legit horror movie if you view it that way.
Yeah.
That is definitely...
Mostly not a horror movie, mostly just a story, and then, whoa!
Right.
What the heck is going on?
It's about an alien abduction, supposedly based on a true story. It's not really based on a true story.
How would you know?
But actually, of note, I think the people that it happened to were Mormon, so, I mean... I gotta believe him. No, but the abduction parts of that are just 100% horror scenes.
Oh yeah, it goes from 0 to 1,000,000. You're like, oh, whoa, please.
Yeah. Anyways, the aliens in that look exactly like Pumpkinhead when he wakes up.
Yeah.
And then Pumpkinhead grows in size and angliness.
And angliness, gangliness. Mm-hmm. Yeah. At this point, we kind of go back to the kids who are starting to feel remorse for what they did, and but it's too late. And Pumpkinhead has been activated.
Incoming Pumpkinhead.
And he begins the slaughter.
Pumpkinhead locked on target.
Look, I'm not going to lie to you.
Take evasive maneuvers. Pumpkinhead incoming.
Yeah, at this point, it just turns into a regular old slasher with things just kind of happening. People dying.
Yeah.
They're just getting cut up.
Not super interesting either.
No.
Like, not really very interesting setups or lots of dread. It's literally just, now you grab someone.
Okay, now I'm not... For the listener, I will admit everything. I didn't even get this. I didn't even get it from the movie. I did not even glean this part. But Ed experiences, as Pumpkinhead is killing the kids.
Oh, you didn't get that?
Ed sees the kill through in his mind's eye.
Well, he's also experiencing it.
Right. I got that he was upset. I got that there was a connection between him and Pumpkinhead.
Uh-huh.
I didn't get that he saw it.
Okay, is that what it says on IMDb?
It says that on Wikipedia, and I did not care enough to go back and actually confirm. I'm just going to say it probably.
Well, I think it's like towards the end, it's a little more obvious that he's actually not just seeing it, but he's experiencing it and experiencing what Pumpkinhead is feeling.
Right.
Because when he hurts his shoulder, Pumpkinhead grabs his shoulder and it's like, ow.
Yeah.
Don't do that. And then it is, and the way they convey this is that while a killing is going on, that while Pumpkinhead is killing someone, it cuts to Ed Harley, and Ed Harley looks like he's receiving one of the best blowjobs ever.
Yeah,
it's just like right mid cum.
It's not
is what Ed Harley looks like. Well,
but to me, I was like, why is he doing that? I was like, what? Why is he getting a blowjob? Like, what's happening?
It's like,
yeah, it was like there's a better way to do this.
Yeah, it's like what do you call it? The vinegar strokes. It's like Ed Harley is experiencing pure vinegar strokes when
oh, wow. Oh, yeah.
Just, it's not pleasurable. It's the part right after you come and all of a sudden all the sensation comes back you realize like, oh God, I'm super chafed. This bad feel.
Yeah. So then
too much information.
Then Bunt, the kid from the swamp, tries to help some of the remaining teenagers or 20-somethings out, and Bunt becomes a target for Pumpkinhead as well, and P-Head kills Bunt. P-Head.
Pumpkinhead.
You have any idea how hard it is to write out Pumpkinhead like 9 million times? And words all like, hey, that's not a word. And I'm like, I know. So it might as well just be P-Head. Basically, we've reached the end of the movie now. It doesn't seem like we have, but we have. So at this point,
there's no real twists in this movie. It's literally Pumpkinhead is summoned and Pumpkinhead kills everyone. The only thing left. So the very ending is where the interesting thing happens. But basically, Ed Harley realizes that him and Pumpkinhead are attached and that they can feel each other's pain,
and also that he no longer wants this to continue.
Right.
He has decided that the price of revenge is too high,
and so he goes to the witch and is like, "Please stop it." And the witch is like, "No, I can't." Yeah. And then he goes...
And then he realizes...
He tries to stop Pumpkinhead and realizes that they're attached, and so...
And then he realizes what Bryce said was right. If you're going to do murder-suicide, just do the suicide.
Right. And so he takes the decision to take out his gun and shoot himself in the head.
Right. And then Pumpkinhead feels that a little bit,
But he didn't actually kill himself.
But not enough. And so the last remaining girl, what was her name? Tracy. Tracy shoots both Pumpkinhead and Ed, and then they die. But after Pumpkinhead dies, he lights on fire, and that was kind of cool.
Sure.
Whoa.
And then, this is the important part.
Yeah, this is
that Ed turns into Pumpkinhead.
Mm-hmm.
And then the witch buries him back in the old pumpkin patch graveyard.
Right. So now he's ready for the next time somebody decides that it's worth taking revenge.
So you become Pumpkinhead anyways, so might as well just go murder people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just stay yourself.
Yeah.
Be angry or not, or just find forgiveness.
I mean,
in
you'll
your heart.
still go to hell, but at least you won't live any amount of life as Pumpkinhead.
The other option is don't get turned into a movie at all and just find forgiveness and be a good person.
Right.
Which is probably what you should actually do.
Yeah.
So
that's Pumpkinhead.
With that, final recommendations for Pumpkinhead.
I mean, if you are going through like the 31 days of Halloween trying to watch a movie on every day in October, maybe watch this one.
Yeah, if you have a personal... Here's what I have written. If you have a personal nostalgia attached to this, I bet you still won't like it on repeat viewing. I bet you'll still be like, oh, that wasn't very good.
This is definitely... I know you paused it at least like 6 times.
Just to see where we
were. In the latter half, and you're like, ugh... 18 more minutes.
It was so boring.
And it's not a long movie. Wasn't it like...
It was an hour and a half.
Hour and a half?
Yeah, an hour and 20, something like that.
Can't really endorse it. Kind of interesting, but mostly academically. Again, I can't underline enough like how shitty the direction was.
It was very bad.
How the lighting was okay-ish, but still not great. The sound design was also kind of terrible. Like, every time Pumpkinhead was on scene, just real loud rattlesnake noises. That was his noise. It's like, okay.
All right.
The only interesting thing is the concept, some of the concepts, and the actual monster design is legit good.
Yeah.
If you had a better director and it was shot better, it could be like a real iconic...
Yeah.
I mean, it's still iconic. I mean,
but for the wrong reason.
Yeah. So
instead of iconic, it's cult.
Yeah,
which in this case is bad.
It's not a hidden gem. You won't get a lot of joy out of it. So the other cult movies that we've watched are legit fantastic.
Yeah.
Are Sleepaway Camp and what's the other one?
It's Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yeah, Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yeah.
Both, like, fantastic movies.
Yeah.
Like, movies that don't exist outside of those movies.
Oh, man. I can't wait to watch Silent Night, Deadly Night again.
Yeah, I know. I really do. We got to watch Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 this Christmas. Because that one has the great sound drop of... Garbage Day.
So, but the one good thing about Pumpkinhead was it was really easy to write taglines for. So let's get into taglines.
Yeah, I should probably write some taglines.
Here's taglines. So, Taglines is a game where we think up alternate taglines or just funny lines about the movie to poke fun at it or make you laugh or make you think. You know, that's really what we're here to do, is to make you think. So with that, do you want me to play your first tagline perchance?
You want me to we'll do that one last. Let's do yours first.
Sure thing. So my first tagline is, let's see here, Pumpkinhead, the only movie where you get exactly what the title makes you expect. No,
do you?
No, you don't.
You don't.
That's a bad.
You don't get an actual pumpkin head.
I've really built this segment up, and it's just downhill from
All
here.
right, Pumpkinhead, Cabbage Patch Dolls, the horror movie.
Boy, mine are bad. Why?
Well, if you heard that one and you think yours are bad, then yeah, I think we're in trouble.
Why is it called Pumpkinhead? Because his head is kind of pumpkin-y? That was my joke.
Wow, David.
I'm
all right.
Oh, man.
Pumpkinhead.
We'll end with a bang, I promise.
Pumpkinhead. It's like the Predator for vegans.
That was actually pretty good. Pumpkinhead. No, it's not about Halloween, like at all. No, it's also not about pumpkins either. No, it's not what you think it is. I'm sorry.
It's a lot more interesting than Scary Monster Head.
Scary Monster Head. That was their alternate title.
Mm-hmm. Oh, was it me?
Yeah.
Pumpkinhead. Summoning Pumpkinhead comes at a great cost, mainly a mediocre movie.
Oh, the worst, highest price you can pay. Pumpkinhead, Revenge, now with pumpkin spice.
That one's great.
That one was all
I
right.
love that one.
Okay, and here's Bryce's final tagline.
Pumpkinhead.
Go ahead, Norm.
No. I'm terrible at telling jokes, but a guy, he gets a genie or something that gives you wishes in a lamp, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so he's like, oh, no, that's not it. He goes to his whole head is a giant pumpkin. That's how the joke starts. Mm-hmm. It's like a giant pumpkin, and then his friend goes, what happened? He's like, I found this genie in a lamp, and he gave me 3 wishes. And he's like, what happened? He goes, well, the first wish I wished for like $100 million, and I got it. And then for my second wish, I wished for like a beautiful lady, and I got her. And the guy's like, yeah, but what happened? He's like, the third wish, that's where I really blew it. And the guy goes, what happened? He goes, I wished for a giant pumpkin head.
I wished for a giant pumpkin head. Oops. I think I have one more here. Oh yes, Pumpkinhead, or as my dad says, Pumpkinhead.
Okay, I got one more.
Pumpkin? Nothing?
Pumpkin.
Yeah, my dad only says pumpkin.
Yeah, like pumpkin chunkin.
Pumpkin. He never says pumpkin.
Pumpkinhead.
I mean, this guy was a real jerk.
True. Yeah, he was. Two assists by Norm. That's a pretty good taglines segment. So let's see here. Oh, maybe we can read some reviews off of the most latest iTunes reviews.
Right. So I wanted to do a shout out first to this listener on Twitter that sent us. She started following us, and I reached out to her and just said hi, and she replied with probably one of the nicest.
Oh man, this made me tear
listener
up a little
interactions.
Bit. When I saw this,
seriously.
I was.
So this is from Natalia on Twitter. She's at by Valkyrie, which is interesting to me.
Okay.
To my interest. She says, OMG, hi, I've been listening to your podcast for 2 weeks now, I believe. Love listening to episodes while traveling to work in the morning. My top 3 favorite horror movies are Carrie, Revenge, and Nightmare on Elm Street. Always coming back to them. But you guys also gave me so many recommendations for new to me movies to check out. So my Halloween weekend will be plentiful. Thank you guys for creating the podcast. Lots of people can't understand my obsession with horror movies, and so many reviewers stick to boring analysis, but you manage to make it fun. And an hour of your episode passes so quickly, I'm always going for the next one instantly. You are both the highlight of my day for sure.
That is so kind.
Yeah,
of you to say. It makes me feel like
it
like
feels
what
like
we're
I
doing
paid
is,
someone to write that.
Right.
Like we need a fake review.
Yeah.
That just says everything you want your review to say.
Very sweet. Very nice of you.
Very sweet.
Very nice of you to say.
And then she went on after we just almost cried to her saying thank you so much for saying so many nice things. She said, oh, you guys you need a wider recognition for sure. I don't have many horror-loving friends, cough, pussies, cough, but I recommend them your podcast anyway. Maybe it could get them into the genre. You never know. I'm listening through Spotify. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. There's other stuff, but just super, super nice comment from Natalia.
Yeah, thank you,
And I think
Natalia.
she's from like Serbia or something, which is...
Don't get that wrong. It's I don't know where. All
right, whatever. She's from Eastern Europe.
Yeah,
somewhere. And then we got a couple new reviews on iTunes.
Before you get to that, I also want to give a shout out to Stephen M., who has liked and commented on just about everything we do. Also, Kim has done the same. Thank you both for being there for us on Facebook. We sure do appreciate you guys and all your reactions and comments and stuff. We eat it up. So, thank you.
So this review from TVORTR Freak from Los Angeles on iTunes. He says, Hereditary and The Witch brought me here. I like reliving a movie with the play-by-play. Please tell me how excited you are about The Lighthouse. We are very excited about The Lighthouse.
So fucking excited.
Yeah, it's a real conundrum because we've got The Lighthouse and Zombieland 2 coming out the same day. We're going to try to fit those in somehow. But yeah, Lighthouse is probably one of the movies that I'm most excited about this year.
Yeah, I'd say right behind Hereditary. I'd say Lighthouse, or not Hereditary, Midsummer. Lighthouse is right there.
So The Lighthouse is directed and written, I believe, by is it David Eggers?
I don't know. It's the same guy who did The Witch.
Yeah, it's the same guy that did The Witch, and that is our next episode. We'll be reviewing The Witch, which we talk about a lot, but we haven't reviewed yet, which is, spoilers, is going to be a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it's if you guys want to watch that, I believe it's free on Netflix.
Yeah. There's another review, but I can't see it here. Might have been on a different platform. But anyways, thank you so much for reviewing and sharing the podcast with your friends. It is actually making a difference.
It is.
We had the most downloads ever.
It seems like we're setting a new record every week.
Yeah, and that's because of you guys.
Yeah, so thank you guys. Make sure to share it with a friend. It does make a difference. Make sure to head over to our website, horrormovietalk.com. If you're interested in becoming a patron on a spoopy, two spoopy for you, or 3 spoopy 5 me level, then that is available to you now. You can support the show directly, or you can also click through the Amazon link, bookmark that, and every time you spend some money on Amazon, when you got to buy, your vaginal dams or I don't know what else, like jackhammer repair parts, all kinds of weird stuff you can buy on Amazon. But every purchase you make on there, when you click through that link, a little piece of that comes to us, and we love you for it. Also, remember, it is the holiday season. It is Halloween. So head over to Shudder and enter HMT at checkout, and you got free streaming of every fucking horror movie your little heart can want. Desire.
Well, not every movie, but they just have a really great curated selection of horror movies.
Halloween, the original, Halloween 4, Halloween 5, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Wailing. Like, there's just so many good movies on there. The new Creepshow series. So check it out on Shudder.
And when you carve your pumpkin, don't forget to enter into the pumpkin carving contest.
That's right.
Head over to horrormovietalk.com. The call to action to enter that is pretty obvious. It's a big old jack-o'-lantern. Doesn't have to be a jack-o'-lantern that you carved. Could be any kind of artistic or cool carving. Send those in, and you'll be entered to win the grand prize of some Funko Hocus Pocus Pop dolls.
Put it back in there, bitch. Okay, guys, you have a great week. We love you very much, and bye-bye. Oh, watch The Witch for next week on Netflix.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.